Hello. I am very excited about this lesson. My name is Wlfred, and this lesson will go through all the various 7th chords we have and its application. What are 7th chords? A 7th chord is a type of chord that is built by taking a triad chord and then adding an additional note. That's the 7th note of the scale. There are a lot of 7th chord types. There are about 6 of them. Alright. We have the major 7th chords, the minor 7th chords, dominant 7th chords, diminished 7th chords, augmented 7th chords, half diminished 7th chords. For the purposes of this lesson, we'll just look through these 6 types of 7th chords. A major 7th chord consists of a root note, a major third, a perfect fifth, and a major 7th. Another way to think about the major 7th chord is that they are like a major triad with a major 7th on top. Okay, so let's look at an example. Let's try and understand how it looks like on the piano. So we pick a C major 7th chord, as I said earlier. So you find the C, you find the major third, perfect fifth, and then you add the major 7th on top. Alright, so for a C major 7th chord, you have C, E, G, and then B. The next type of 7th chord we are going to learn is the dominant 7th chord. So dominant 7th chords are considered to be strong and restless. Alright, so dominant 7th chords are commonly found in jazz, gospel, and blues, R&B. They are found in almost in every kind of song or every genre of music. A dominant 7th chord consists of a root note, the major third, the perfect fifth, and then the minor 7th. Alright, so it's more like a mixture of both the major 7th chord and then the minor 7th chord. So the root note, major third, perfect fifth, and then the minor 7th. So let's look at an example. Let's look at an example in key of C. So the root note, major third, perfect fifth, and then the minor 7th. So you have C, E, G, and then B flat. Our next topic is going to be on chord inversions. Alright, so chord inversions add a richness to a chord progression, and it's a great tool for composers to use. I'm going to show you how easy chord inversions are to understand and give you a few examples of when you should try to use them in your songs or pieces. Alright, the number of chord inversions is always equal to the number of notes in a given chord. So now let's look at a typical use of the major, minor, and dominant 7th chords in a 2-5-1 progression. In music theory, a major 2-5-1 progression refers to a common chord progression used in jazz and other genres. The major 2-5-1 progression is a sequence of chords built on the 2nd, 5th, and 1st scale degrees of the major scale. So example 1, the C major 2-5-1 progression will consist of the following chords. So this is the C major scales 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 or 1. So you have your 2 here as D, your 5 as G, and then your 1 as the C. Right. So the 2 chord, it's a D minor chord. So we can do a D minor 7th, built on the 2nd scale of the C major scale. So the notes in this chord will be D, F, A, and C. Alright, so you You can use this for your 2-5-1 progression in the C major. If you are playing in the key of C, you can use this as your 2. Alright, the 5 chord will be a dominant chord, so it will be a G. So we can pick a G dominant 7 chord, so that should be a G, B, D, and then F. Alright, so this will be a G dominant 7 chord, and it is built on the 5th degree of the C major scale. So you have G, B, D, and F. Then our 1 chord, when we are resolving back to our C, so our 1 chord, we can do a C major 7th chord. Right, so we have a C, E, G, and then B. Okay, so the full chord progression will be a D minor, a G dominant 7, and then a C major 7. So that's how our 2-5-1 progression will sound. Alright, so you have something like this. So you can make use of the inversions. In fact, you should make use of the inversions. Alright, it gives it a nice tone. So for example, maybe we can do for our D minor, we can do this. Then we can do this for our G dominant 7. And then we can do this for our C major 7. So, sorry. So, that's an example of a 2-5-1 progression using the 7th chord. So we did the minor 7 on our D. We did the dominant 7 on our G, and then we did a major 7 on our C. And let's look at a typical use of the diminished 7th chord. One common application of diminished 7th chord in chromatic harmony is a passing chord. It is used over non-chord tones in a scale of passing chords. For example, in a progression that moves from C major chord to an A minor chord, a diminished 7th chord can be inserted in between, such as, for example, let's say a C sharp diminished 7 or a D diminished 7, to create a chromatic line of ascending or descending half steps. Okay, so an example of using a diminished 7th chord, like to move in between chords. Okay, so to move, we are trying to move from C major to A minor. So it's a very popular progression. So from C to A minor. So in between these chords, we can fix in a diminished 7th chord before we get to the A minor chord. So maybe from C, then you do a movement on the diminished chord. So you can, in this case, we can use either an ascending chromatic or descending chromatic. So let's try the ascending chromatic. That would be B flat diminished 7. So you do a B flat diminished 7 chord, then you resolve in the A minor chord. So let's see how it sounds in context. So C, then okay. So let's try to put at least 4 of these chords, 7 chords, in a song. and let's see how it sounds. The song we are going to try is Amazing Grace, and we are trying it in the key of C. I'll just play a little bit of the song and then demonstrate to you how to use these chords, these 7 chords in the song. Okay, so that's the song. So that's the song. Okay, so we are going to use all these. We are going to use these four 7th chords in the song Amazing Grace. The chords we are going to use are in thinking in C, or to use C as an example, we are going to use the augmented 7th chord, which is this. Then we'll use the diminished 7th chord. We'll use the B flat diminished 7th chord, which is this. We'll use the G dominant 7th chord, which is this. And then we'll use the C major 7th chord, which is this. So I'll end with this anchor. Continuous practice makes a man good at anything. Thank you for investing in this lesson. Learn all the concepts by going through each key using the cycle of fifths, that's arrangements of the 12 keys, a fourth higher from each key. So that's C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B, E, A, D, G. You can also follow and subscribe to our social media platforms at Learn and Master Music. Thank you.